Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're getting personal. We're diving right into a gardener's private notes, their journal entries.
Yeah, the real behind-the-scenes stuff.
Exactly. And our mission, it's surgical. We want to extract the most reliable technique for propagating plants, specifically marigolds.
And this is great source material because, it starts with failure. A lot of failure, actually, before hitting on real success.
Right. So we're aiming to give you, the listener, a shortcut. Turn all that trial and error into, well, a method that works for cuttings.
A guaranteed method, really, based on this experience.
Okay, so the notes set the scene pretty well. The author started with seeds, like most people do with marigolds, but they hit a wall, right? What was the big challenge?
Reliability. Or maybe the total lack of it. They mentioned buying seeds from all over big brands, small suppliers, and described it as limited success. Sometimes almost zero germination. It was only seeds from like an experienced hobbyist friend that actually worked well.
Wow. So really inconsistent. That must have been frustrating.
Totally.
Yeah.
And just not sustainable. If you're trying to grow reliably, you're just gambling.
Okay, let's dig into that. Relying on seeds. You're kind of at the mercy of things you can't even control, right?
Yeah.
When it was harvested, storage, genetics.
Precisely. Dormancy requirements you might not even know about. It's a bit of a lottery.
So that's the pivot. The author figured chasing good seeds was, well, maybe not the best use of time.
Exactly. Why bother when there's another way, a vegetative technique that gives a predictable result? So they switched away from seeds.
Which is sexual reproduction.
Right. To cloning, basically. Propagation using cuttings.
Okay, so vegetative technique, that's cloning.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a piece of the parent plant. It bypasses all the genetic stuff, the germination headaches.
Absolutely. Think about it. A cutting is a genetic copy. You know exactly what you're getting.
Ugh.
Seeds, even from one variety, always have some potential variation.
Plus all those risk factors we just mentioned.
Right. So with cuttings, you just take away all that biological randomness. You shift your focus entirely to the environment needed for roots.
You move from hoping to engineering.
Well put. Engineering success.
I like that. A real shift in mindset. Okay, so if we're engineering this, we need the plans. What did the notes say was the absolute key? The number one critical factor for getting a cutting to root?
It's super clear in the notes. The secret sauce. Maintaining humidity.
Humidity.
Yeah. High, consistent humidity around the cutting. That was the difference between success and failure every single time in their records.
Okay, but why humidity? Let's get into the mechanics. Why is that so vital for a piece of plant with no roots?
It's all about something called transpiration. Basically, leaves are always losing moisture to the air. Sweating, you could say.
Through little pores, right.
Stomata, exactly. Now, a normal plant just pulls up more water with its roots to replace it, but a cutting, well, it doesn't have roots yet. Well, not functional ones anyway.
Okay. So if the air is dry, it's just losing water constantly with no way to replace it, like an open wound.
Perfect analogy. It just bleeds out moisture too fast, faster than the cut end can possibly absorb any water, so it wilts and dies.
Even if the soil is wet.
Even if the soil is soaking wet, high humidity slows that water loss right down. It reduces the sweating, buys the cutting the time it needs.
Time to grow roots.
Exactly. Critical time. Days, maybe weeks, until its own roots can take over the job of water uptake.
That makes so much sense. And the author realized this wasn't just a marigold thing, did they? They connected it to other plants.
Yeah, that's a key insight here. It wasn't a blind guess. The notes specifically mentioned success with coleus and Mexican mint using the same principle.
Okay, coleus and Mexican mint. Quite different plants.
Very different, but the principle holds. If high humidity works for a tender annual like marigold, a tropical herb like the mint, and an ornamental like coleus,
then you found a kind of universal rule for softwood cuttings.
you've got it. It's about building a transferable skill. Maybe coleus is where they first learned it. Marigold let them refine it quickly because it roots fast.
So when they tackle something more difficult later.
They aren't guessing about the environment anymore. They know humidity control is step one. It's non-negotiable.
Okay, principle established. Humidity control. Now, the how. We need actionable steps. The notes laid out a really clear 4-step method, didn't they?
Yes, very specific. Step one, selection. Cuttings need to come from the plant's tip.
The very tip, not just any bit of stem. Why is that?
It's about hormones. The actively growing tips have the highest concentration of natural rooting hormones, auxins.
Okay.
They signal the plant to make roots. Older, woodier stems, much slower if they root at all. You want that fresh, vigorous growth.
Got it. Tip cuttings for the hormone boost. Step 2. The medium. this one surprised me. Place them in soggy soil. Not just moist, soggy.
Yeah, that jumps out, doesn't it? Goes against the usual don't overwater rule.
Completely. We're always warned about root rot.
But remember, these cuttings don't have roots yet, so there's nothing to rot initially. The priority is maximum hydration right at the cut surface.
Sealing the wound and providing immediate water.
Exactly. That sogginess helps create that high humidity right at the base, internally and externally, before proper roots form.
Okay, that makes sense in this specific context. Prioritize immediate survival, which leads to step 3, moisture maintenance. How to keep that humidity up.
Regular watering, yes, but the focus is keeping the leaves moist.
So missing or covering them.
Both work. Frequent misting or putting a plastic bag or dome over the pot. Again, it's all about stopping transpiration until roots form. If those leaves dry out, it's over.
Right. And the final piece, step 4, placement. Where do these soggy, misty cuttings need to go?
Shaded area. Absolutely crucial.
Why shade?
Direct sun is the enemy here. It heats things up, turns your humid little environment into an oven, and forces the cutting to transpire like crazy.
Undoing all your hard work.
Instantly. Shade or maybe very bright indirect light keeps things cool and stable, locks in the humidity.
Okay, so tip selection, soggy soil, moist leaves, shade. Follow those 4 steps and the results.
Fast. That's the beauty of it. The notes say you can expect a good root ball really quickly, within 5 to 14 days.
5 to 14 days, that's incredibly fast.
It really is. You go from a snipped stem to a rooted plant in like 2 weeks max.
That quick feedback is so important, validates the whole process. Now, here's the part I found really fascinating, the why behind doing all this with marigolds in the first place. The author actually writes, marigolds are not their main interest.
Yeah, that's the kicker, isn't it? It reveals the real game here.
It wasn't about the marigolds themselves.
Nope. They were just the practice subject, a means to an end. Marigolds root easily if you get the conditions right, so they're perfect for practicing the technique.
So for you, the listener, what this means is marigolds were a low-stakes way to get good at something tricky. The notes say it explicitly. Honing skills in propagation, growth, and maintenance. Deliberate practice.
Exactly. It connects to how you learn any skill, really. The prize wasn't the marigolds, it was mastering the method. Understanding humidity, being systematic.
So you practice on something easy, something that doesn't matter as much emotionally or financially?
Right. You perfect your technique on the practice plant. So when you do try to propagate that rare, expensive thing you really care about.
You're not fumbling with the basics. You already know how to control the environment.
Precisely. You've banked the skill. Like practicing scales before playing a concerto.
Or hitting practice balls before a tournament. Use the marigold as your driving range.
That's a great way to put it. That core skill controlling moisture and temperature applies to so many plants. Master it with something forgiving, like a marigold, and you're set for more challenging things later.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, the shortcut to success with marigold cuttings, and likely others like coleus or Mexican mint, is all about meticulous environmental control, especially humidity.
It really proves that technique can trump luck, or even expensive supplies like rooting hormones. Master the environment first.
The plant often knows what to do if you just give it the right conditions.
Absolutely. Which leads to a final thought for you to mull over. What's your marigold? What's the thing in your garden or even another area of your life that you could use purely for practice? Not because you love the subject itself, but because it's the perfect vehicle to master an essential skill propagation, pruning, maybe something else entirely.
Practice on the unimportant stuff to get good for the important stuff.
Often, yeah. The best learners sometimes pick the least precious subjects to really nail the technique. It frees you up to focus just on the process, without the pressure, something to think about.